Welcome to To Be Continued. We're your host. I'm Christian.
I'm Caleb.
And I'm Riley.
And before we get into the NFL talk, also, we're glad to be back. We took a little bit of holiday break. But, Caleb, Yankees lost Soto.
Yes, they did.
Sorry to hear it. But before we get into any topics, we are changing things up this week. No longer am I just going to be saying games. We give our things. This week, we actually have topics to discuss. And before we get into the Soto talk, I think the Soto talk has led into one thing, and there's been a big debate about this. Caleb, I'll let you start. Is it time the MLB gets a salary cap?
I don't know if it's necessarily a salary cap situation. I do think that the Juan Soto deal in particular is one where when they have the next CBA negotiations, those owners, like the smaller market owners, are going to be like, Hal Steinbrenner was willing to do whatever it took almost to get him, and like Steve Cohen just had more money, so he was willing to just pay whatever it took to get this guy. And we're not talking about the best player in baseball. We're probably not talking about a top 5 overall. We're talking about a top five hitter, but not a top 5 overall player. He wasn't the best right fielder in the series. If you watch the World Series, I would take Mookie Betts 10 times out of 10 over Juan Soto. Yeah. And so for him to be making, like, I think twice as much probably as Mookie Betts. I know Mookie Betts eventually got a big extension, but still like way more money. He's making more money than Shohei Ohtani, who has 3 MVPs, making way more money than Aaron Judge, who has 2 MVPs. And I'm not a huge WAR guy. Juan Soto, his best season, he just had it, was 7.9 WAR. So not a single 8 WAR season. Mike Trout, in his first 7 years, was averaging 8 or 9 WAR. So for a guy that's just 26 years old and really good to get that kind of a deal, I think it's going to lead to eventually somebody's going to say enough is enough. What I'd like to see, I'd like to see a cap, I'd like to see a floor, and I'd like to see an NBA style max deal.
Yes.
Just have it be, and that would also make this offseason more interesting. The NBA offseason is 3 days. Right away where everybody's going, and boom, it's over.
It's pretty much NBA is definitely pretty much just one day. The first day, all the big names go, and then you have 1 or 2 stragglers for the second day.
And a lot of times we know before the official first day. As soon as we know that tampering period, legal tampering, whatever. Oh man, your boy Jimmy Butler's probably getting it. Anyway.
Actually, apparently
waited it out.
Apparently the leader in the betting odds, at least for Jimmy Butler to go to, is the Warriors. It's the Warriors and the Rockets.
Warriors are going to be making a trade, but it ain't for Jimmy Butler.
Anyway, all right. So back to baseball. I think it's probably going to happen. And I think you're probably going to see a work stoppage. I think you're going to see a legitimate strike because the owners are going to say enough is enough. Because I don't know who the next great free agent, Gunnar Henderson maybe. I'm trying to think who's young and is going to be a free agent in a few years.
I can't even think of it.
I don't know, but
Paul Skeens.
Yeah, man, imagine what Paul Skeens is going to get. He might get a cool $1 billion if you watch what he's done, and he'll get it from the Mets too. But yeah, the Mets. We're going to talk about the Mets too, man. We got a lot of this.
That's a big topic. Go ahead.
Oh no, you can go.
Oh, just.
All right. So. No, Caleb, I don't think a salary cap's coming, and I don't think it ever will. I think the owners will want it, but the problem that I keep seeing that's going to happen is the players' union also has to agree to it, correct? And there's no way the players are going to be like, hey, we're not okay with you taking away some money from us. But my biggest gripe with this Soto deal that just happened yesterday was I understood Sirianni when he got $700 million because not Sirianni, I'm sorry, Ohtani, mixing sports. But when Ohtani got his $700 million contract, it made sense because when he's healthy, he's not only one of the best hitters in baseball, but he's also a really good pitcher for baseball. So he's getting you on both ends. Juan Soto is getting paid $50 million a year to what, hit?
Yep.
And it's not like he's batting over 300 and hitting all these home runs. He's like a, 270, 280 hitter with, on average, 30 home runs a year.
Yeah, he just had his best home run season ever, playing in Yankee Stadium, batting in front of Aaron Judge, who hit 58 home runs.
What the Mets will need to do to get the most money out of him is train him for first base, get him out of the outfield, and actually get him in a position where he doesn't have to move.
And the other thing is, like, Juan Soto has a very, like, on the field, he's flashy. I think he likes the attention, but he's not, like, off the field, who knows what Juan Soto's ever doing. And it's not like, he's not making you money off the field like Shohei is.
Mm-hmm.
Like, Shohei, his contract's going to pay for itself.
Oh, yeah.
And I think another big thing, like, if you look at Shohei, the way I am president of the Shohei Hater Club. Like, we know that. Like, I think that the reaction to him and calling him the greatest baseball player of all time is ridiculous.
Agreed.
But Shohei took a contract that paid him $2 million a year, while Juan Soto literally was going to take every last cent he could get. And he got it.
Shohei wanted to win.
So, yeah, you want to look at who the team players are, or like who you want on your team. I think I'd rather have Shohei.
Yeah, the betting odds favor
I
that too.
would put him in right field, though, instead of center, or instead of pitching.
I agree.
Get him off the mound. You don't need that. He's a good, at best, pitcher. Why risk losing it? What if he does serious long-term damage to that arm and the swing is hurt by it? Not worth it.
Well, this leads us to our next thing. What do you think the legacy of the Soto deal is going to be in about 5 to 10 years?
I think that next year, if there's no salary cap, next year, players are going to start wanting to get more money. I wouldn't be surprised if more player-centric players, player-minded players, are looking to get their contracts reconstructed and look for more of a fatter extension to put them above Juan Soto.
Baseball doesn't really let you have the power to do that like other sports do. You don't really see many baseball extensions like you do like football or basketball.
Yeah, but I mean, if there's no salary cap, I mean, somebody's going to want to be like, I don't know. I can't think of the top 3 most paid players other than Soto and Ohtani right now, and Ohtani's not going to do it because he's going to make.
Well, he's locked up for 10 more years anyway. So
Well, yeah,
not more.
he's probably going to make more money than Soto did off the contract, but by his sponsorships and all that stuff. So, but I think that it'll start causing a gripe between the players if there's no salary cap, because who's to say the next year somebody's not going to be like, I want to be paid $1 billion.
Well, you have to be a player to be like in baseball. We'll say usually owners do a good job of not overvaluing somebody way too much. Like usually,
I would say Juan Soto's overvalued.
Like Juan Soto now, but he's also
insanely.
26. But
So was Jason Hayward. That's kind of like something that popped into my mind. Like, Juan Soto's way better than Jason Hayward. But Jason Hayward had the best year of his career, was a free agent, and the Cubs signed him to a ridiculous contract. And he was never anywhere close to that again. And Juan Soto just had the best year of his career.
Yep.
And every other year of his career, he's been good. And he is good when it matters. But he hasn't been this 40 home run, 100 RBI guy.
Also, the best year of his career came off of only hitting. He's not a right fielder. He's a right fielder, but he's too slow to play in the outfield when it comes to it mattering.
And Yankee Stadium is a very small right field, and Citi Field is a very big right field.
Mm-hmm. It's a lot more ground to cover.
I see. One of the reasons that I thought there's no way the Mets are really writing him a blank check, which they in effect did, I thought that they would have seen that series, the Subway Series, that the Mets care so much about, and the Yankees are just like, whatever, it's the Mets. And Juan Soto misplayed like 2 or 3 balls in the outfield. There's like video of it going around. Like somebody made a low light reel. It's pretty funny. But he's actually like in Citi Field making these errors or misplaying these balls, and they're going to see that all the time. Yankee Stadium is one of the smallest right fields, which works for the hitters, but also helps the right fielder's defense. And now he's leaving that, and he's going to one of the biggest right fields. And I just don't think – I think he's going to be DH within 5 years. In these next couple of years, these Mets are going to be like, oh, crap.
Or what they need to do is move him to first base this season, or start making his transition, kind of like Bryce Harper did.
I don't know. Bryce Harper was a good defender in right field, though.
Mm-hmm.
Juan Soto's just never been a good defender.
But I just think right field or first base, you don't have to move as much. You don't have to rely on
Harper
speed.
started out as a catcher.
that's what helps him a lot.
Harper is a much better, I would say, athlete
Yeah.
than Soto. I mean, I think Soto, I don't want to come off as hating Soto. Like, I hated Soto for one night. When I first found out, I was like, I hate this guy. I hate him more than the Astros. I've forgiven everything that Jose Altuve did, the buzzers and all. Don't take my shirt off while I'm celebrating, fresh tattoo, whatever. But like after that, like I saw an old video of Derek Jeter saying like how the Mets were like so amped up about like being in the World Series, and the Yankees were like, yeah, it's just the Mets. And then now I'm just like, you know what, it's just the Mets. Who cares?
Yeah.
I said from the start, I really want Juan Soto to stay because it's not my money. And I'm not spending it, so what do I care how overpaid he is? But I also said, and I said this to you a few times, that whoever signs this is going to regret it because he's already a bad fielder at 26, and you don't get better in the outfield as you age, and he has not been hurt yet.
No,
and God forbid, I'm not wishing injury on the guy. I saw some Yankee fans were not me. I want him to be on the field and just dreadful in the outfield, and I want them to be like unplayable to the point that they're like, oh crap, we should not have done this.
To me, I think this legacy's already been kind of proven for it to me, because you can always tell how big of a deal it is whenever you see how the effects Vegas thinks it has. Like if you looked at the betting odds for the Mets to win a championship next year, the night before they signed Soto to the night after they signed Soto, believe it or not, they barely changed.
Because you can't play outfield.
And they're dumpster diving for starters.
Seriously. And the funniest thing to me is they're paying $51 million for their biggest defensive liability.
Mm-hmm.
Like, and Yankee Stadium, he had the advantage because isn't Yankee Stadium a hitter-friendly park?
It's very neutral, but it is typically friendly to lefties because of the short porch. But he does go the other way, so he does use the full field. But for lefties, it is typically pretty hitter-friendly.
Well, it's more hitter-friendly than Citi Field, isn't it?
Oh yeah,
yeah. Citi Field's a lot bigger. That's
Did the Yankees play the Mets at the Mets Stadium this past season?
Yeah.
So if I were the Mets, I would have looked at that, saw what Juan Soto did in the stadium he's going to call home stadium, and see how he played. And look, you're going to have a whole season of that now, and it's going to be ugly.
You have 15 years of that.
As a Phillies fan, that struck no fear to me. I saw Soto, I was like, he was on the Nationals.
What else is funny is that the guy that's protecting him, Mark Vientos, who had a nice rookie season, 24-year-old rookie. So we're not talking like a Bryce Harper kind of prospect. Like we're not talking about somebody that we all knew was going to be a stud. Like there's a decent chance that was the best season Mark Vientos ever has.
Yeah.
And also, by the way, even though he's the protection for Juan Soto, he's the second worst fielder on that team. Mm-hmm. So you have to have those two dudes in the lineup, and neither one of them can field. So
the Mets are looking. It's looking like the Mets are looking for a more hitter team. They're just going to outscore their opponents.
What I think the legacy of this deal is Robinson Cano. Robinson Cano left the Yankees because the Mariners gave him the most money, and it went poorly because like the Yankees are a legacy spot, and I think Juan Soto just doesn't care about legacy. He doesn't. I think he likes being he likes the idea of being like a hired gun or mercenary. I'm surprised he didn't offer to sign somewhere for like 1 year for $100 million, and just do this again next year.
It's true.
That would be kind of a sick way to go, like year to year. Like, but yeah, I think the legacy of it is it's going to show that like. You can already see the Soto spin zone when they're talking about the stuff about the suite. Like the Yankees wouldn't give him a free suite for the family. You get $760 million.
Pay your own suite.
You can buy your own suite. The thing about his mom getting mistreated. If that was a real issue, whoever did it would have been fired the next day. And they probably were. And we never heard about it until after the contract was over, after everybody was talking about, oh, he just went for the biggest possible deal. Like, they're trying to spin it as if he was looking for something other than that. No, and there's nothing wrong with it, because that's what he wants. He wants the most money, he got it. But to pretend like, oh, he really wanted to be a Met. No, he didn't. If he really wanted to be a Met, he would have took less money to be a Met.
Yep.
Not more.
Mm-hmm.
To me, when I'm looking at Soto, I just laugh because I look at where he went, and I'm like, you make no sense. You leave the biggest brand possible. Like, yeah, you might not get on contract terms the money that you're getting from the Mets, but sponsors are going to come to you a lot more in the Yankees than they are the flipping Mets.
Yep, sponsors on the Yankees. And if you're going somewhere to win, you're going to the Dodgers, you're going to one of these teams that were there. The Yankees were in the championship, or were in the World Series, the Phillies. These teams that have like big name players and have a roster that's supposed to be contending Philly's obviously, it's Philly. They're always supposed to be contending and never do. But if he was trying to win, he would have gone somewhere else. I think he just is chasing money now.
Oh yeah.
Didn't he? Hasn't he already won a World Series? Doesn't he already have one?
Yeah, he won with the Nationals.
So it's
in
kind
19.
of making me wonder, like, is he just trying to make as much money as he can before he retires?
Yes. The answer is yes.
Yeah, the answer is yes. To me, if this deal goes poorly, whatever chances he had at the Hall of Fame dwindle.
Yes.
He's probably going to end up a Hall of Famer unless he has like a Mike Trout injury run, like where he's barely on the field. But I think he left the best possible situation he could have ever been in.
Yes.
For the
Yes.
next 6 or
For
7
his
years.
career.
For the next 6 or 7 years at least. Being able to be there with Aaron Judge, because Aaron Judge was Batman, you just have to be Robin. And he seems like somebody that doesn't necessarily want to be the guy. Well, now it's time you got to put up. Now people are circling you in that lineup instead of like you and Judge and Stanton. Like people are circling you, and it's up to him now. So we'll see. I think he really
Screwed up.
he took a much more difficult road for his future success.
I think that for the Yankees, though, granted you lose the big hitter and you lose your second guy to Judge, but for the Yankees, they have another spot open to work on that defense.
They got not only one spot, they got multiple spots.
Yeah,
But they have a way. They have a reason to work on the defense now. Last season it was like we have the best hitters in the league right now.
What I like is the Yankees had weaknesses in right field, left field, second base, and first base. They're all gone. All those people that were weaknesses are gone. So the Yankees need to replace them with somebody. And what they're talking to Christian Walker, who is the best fielding first baseman in the game. Won 3 straight Gold Gloves at first base. They're talking about Alex Bregman for third, maybe. Then that would put Jazz to his natural position in second. Bregman is a great fielder. There was some talk about Arenado. The Yankees are not interested in him.
Bellinger.
Because he's old. Bellinger, who is a guy that's in his prime, a Gold Glove caliber center fielder and first baseman. I love that. Giving Dominguez a real shot to play center field, a young guy with athleticism. I love that, and I think the Yankees. I think this is a blessing in disguise for the Yankees.
It definitely is.
It also puts Aaron Judge back to right field, where he's a Gold Glove fielder.
Yep.
And let's not forget, they just signed that pitcher yesterday.
Max
Fried. And then also for the Yankees, when they're looking at their spots and where they need help, they could always take Chisholm off because Chisholm will play wherever.
Yeah,
I mean,
Chisholm can play third. He can play short. He can play center field.
Then he played outfield in Florida, so like he could play wherever. It gives them a lot more open space to just let's find the best guy on the market right now for a position we need, and then give him the money.
Yep. They're looking at Kyle Tucker. If the Yankees can trade for Kyle Tucker, which I think is like a 0% chance it's going to happen.
You know where I think he's going? Tucker.
I've heard Philly.
Philly's been the one I've heard the most.
I've heard the Cubs.
Which Philly just got that left-handed pitcher.
No, Tucker's a right fielder.
He was the one that killed us
right
in the World
He's
Series.
really good.
Oh, I got you.
I don't think there's a shot that the Astros trade him to the Yankees.
No shot.
However, nobody has a Luis Heel to trade. Like, if the Yankees are willing to trade Luis Heel, a rookie pitcher that throws about 100, that's a starter that was legit. If you believe he's legit, which I kind of think he is, then nobody's really can match that. Like, everybody's got the prospects, but until they've done it in the big leagues, like on the big stage, you don't know what that is.
Kyle Tucker would be huge.
Yeah, so Kyle Tucker would be a big time thing. I don't think it's going to happen, but like, I do think Philly's more likely.
You like Soto who?
I think Astros trade him out of the league, like out to the other league.
Yeah.
Cubs make a ton of sense too. Cubs have got like a lot of good prospects that they could move. So, but if you could get Kyle Tucker, it's just like, oh, we don't even care that we are. So.
Well, if I'm the Astros,
outfielder, so
I'd say it's an upgrade.
If I'm the Astros, I'm not going to trade him after
How old is he?
28. Like he's like a prime dude.
I didn't know if he had got his contract yet.
After getting knocked out of playoffs, like being the Astros, after getting knocked out of playoffs, like I'm not going to trade a stud player, a good defender in the same league. I'm going to try and get him out of there.
So I think the question is, are you going to sign Tucker or Bregman? You're not going to be able to pay both.
Right.
Because Tucker's a free agent after this year. Bregman's a free agent now. So if you look at like which one's easier to replace, maybe Tucker, because there's more good outfielders, I'd say, than good third baseman. But I don't know. That's a just pick your poison deal.
It's true. There's not many.
I'd love to see him as a Yankee, but don't think it'll happen.
All right. Well, there's our baseball talk. Let's move into the NFL, where Yes, the Eagles are 11-2. However, there's been a lot of talk recently about that quarterback. So the question is, do you think Jalen Hurts is good enough to lead the Eagles to the Super Bowl and win? Riley, I'll let you go first.
I mean, he led him to the Super Bowl before. The difference is he just has to make. He just has to let the lights not be so bright. I think he got. I think he got starstruck last time, as did most of the Eagles. They didn't look like the Eagles that were dominant that season. So if they can continue the domination this season, go into the playoffs and dominate again, which last year we had a problem with, I think that they could be okay if they can keep their heads on straight. And Sirianni shaves his head before the Super Bowl.
I think the big question is, first of all, you got to avoid Lamar Jackson syndrome. And that means you got to understand what you're great at, and you got to do that. Mm-hmm. You're not going to have Hurts throw it 40 times and win. You're going to get – it's not a recipe for success. So, but the other part of that is there anybody that's going to make them throw the ball to beat them? Maybe
In the NFC, not.
Maybe Detroit if that D-line gets healthy, but they're so banged up. The interior of Detroit's D-line is legit, but they're hurt. Mm-hmm. So, if they could get healthy, that would be tough.
Minnesota.
Or I like Minnesota's defense. I mean, so the Rams would have given us an interesting preview if they hadn't have choked early on. Because the Rams had the chance to put the Eagles on the ropes, and they didn't. So, what I want to see is, if the Eagles get behind by 14, what do? Do they keep riding Saquon? Because if they do, then, I'm good with, I feel good about the Eagles. But if they're going to just, okay, now we got to throw, I think they're in trouble.
Mm-hmm.
You know who this Eagle team reminds me of? The 2018 Rams. They got this star-studded running back who's probably the best in the world, Todd Gurley, Saquon Barkley. You got a really good receiving core, A.J. Brown, Devontae Smith, Meek Cooper Kupp, Robert Woods, and Brandon Cooks. You've got a really good defense led by a veteran defensive coordinator, Wade Phillips in the Rams defense, Vic Fangio in the Eagles defense. And then you have the similarities at quarterback. A quarterback that you're not sure can throw the ball over 20 times and lead you to a victory, but you think can manage you to victory. Jalen Hurts, Jared Goff. And no, Jared Goff at that point in time was not good enough to win a Super Bowl. And I do not think at the moment Jalen Hurts is good enough to win a Super Bowl. Because what is so frustrating when you watch these games is, yes, Hurts isn't throwing the ball as much. But you look at the film, and he had A.J. Brown open on Sunday, not once, not twice, but 8 times down the field with not a defender in sight. And, yes, I didn't like that A.J. Brown after the game goes out and says, oh, yeah, the passing game needs to improve. You don't voice that out to the media. That puts your quarterback under the bus. But he's not wrong with what he said.
What I will say, I don't mean to interrupt you, but what I will say is that when it comes to the Panthers, so far these last few weeks, or ever since Bryce Young became the starter again, they've come out swinging. They are a fighting team that has a losing record. They're, the number 4 pick or whatever right now?
Yeah.
And they don't look like it. They almost beat the Chiefs. They almost beat the Eagles. Those are 2 top teams right now that almost lost to them.
They got some legit pieces on the IL, too.
Yes. They're
defensive guys.
They're an impressive team that I think if they can keep this together, when everybody's healthy and when people are improving and getting older, they'll start to, be a stud
Bryce Young's
team.
finally found his stride. The thing that made me nervous watching that game, though, was it wasn't like they were doing anything special to beat y'all. Mm-hmm. Hurts right now is gun shy. If Hurts just did what he was supposed to do as, a $50 million quarterback should do, the Eagles would have put up 50. And that's what's so frustrating is I'm waiting for when teams are finally going to be fine, Hurts is going to have to beat us. Let's put 9 in the box. Because nobody has yet to say, we're not letting Saquon beat us. It's all, we can't put too many in there because then they're going deep. No. Stack that box. Make Hurts beat you. And the closest anybody has come to doing that was Washington. Through 3 quarters, Saquon had nothing, and the game was 13-9. However, Washington couldn't score an offense, which meant they could still try running the ball. And once Washington's defense got tired, there went Saquon. But I will say their biggest threat in the NFC right now at this current moment is a team that's not even in the playoffs. And it's the team that just beat Buffalo on Sunday. They are finally healthy on the offensive line. Everybody around them is getting healthy. Their defense just had a struggling game, but that's also against the best quarterback in football at the current moment. Mahomes is the best current quarterback there is, but playing-wise right now, Josh Allen's number 1. I don't even think it's the debate. The Rams are scary, and they're coming, and Stafford looks like Stafford again. There was a throw he had to Cooper Kupp in the 3rd quarter on the left sideline. It was the best throw I've seen by a quarterback all season. I don't even know how he got it there. Not to mention that Puka Nacua catch.
I just want to see him do it again.
Yes.
Like, as long as he does it this week, I am completely on board. But I also wouldn't be surprised with the way their season has gone if they lost this week to 49ers.
Well, the thing is, Niners don't have Trent Williams.
Yeah, that's a big deal.
Nick Bosa probably won't be there.
Is Purdy even back?
Yeah,
That
Purdy's
safety's out, too.
yeah, safety's also out.
Fred Warner, is he back? I know he had fractured something in his ankle.
Yeah, he's back. I believe he is playing. The Rams, they're coming. Hurts. The thing that makes your team, I can say, can get to the Super Bowl is that defense. That defense is good, and it's really good.
See, but like when I look at it, you were talking about the Commanders and how it was really close until about after halftime. It's the same thing with the Ravens game. It was a very close game, and then halftime hit, and the Eagles came out swinging, and the Ravens offense couldn't keep up.
But it wasn't even halftime that you guys got by us. It was 6 minutes ago in the fourth quarter.
After
I said Saquon need to come out.
that is true.
Yeah.
The Eagles need to get this first quarter struggle under control. They have the least amount of points scored in the first quarter, and it's going to kill them when a team comes out swinging in the first quarter, like the Buccaneers did, and they put up 21 on them in the first quarter, and then it's 21-0.
The thing that makes me nervous with you guys is if a team, because you guys have yet to score a first quarter touchdown all season.
No, Saquon did it. They've scored 17 points in the first quarter.
And I thought it was first half. First quarter, they've scored. I thought it was all field goals.
No, Saquon scored one because he scored the first one, and there was like 4 weeks ago.
The fear is if you guys come out struggling on offense, and then a team comes out guns blazing on their offense. If they do go down 14-0, let's even say 21-0, is Hurts capable of throwing them back into the game? And I will say this: what's weird is A.J. Brown. He's still great, but he's not as great as he was last year. And I don't know if it's the targets, but there's something about him that just seems off. I don't know if it's attitude. I don't know if it's something going
chemistry.
on. Something's off. But as long as Saquon's playing at the level he is, they're going to be good.
I think that the one issue that A.J. Brown has is there's so many targets on the offense now. Now, there was a few targets last year, but you're adding Saquon, who I believe is the best running back in the league right now. And if I'm Kellen Moore, I'm not going to force the throw. If I'm down 21-0 in the first quarter, just keep running the ball. Because Saquon, so far, he's like Derrick Henry. He's just not the power guy. The more he runs, the more he picks up.
Well, I'm interested to see, because what's saving Hurts right now from a narrative, should they replace him, is all those rushing touchdowns, which if you really look into them, I think
there's 70% for 1 yard rushing touchdowns.
So there's been 11. Saquon Barkley has had 11 rushes this year where he's been tackled within the 2 yard line. 10 of those rushing touchdowns have went to Jalen Hurts, which really to me should count more for Saquon than it should Hurts. I mean, but it's helping Hurts out in his total touchdown talk. Anyway, there's our Jalen Hurts talk. Before we get into our locks and upsets of the week, let's go through our records. After the last 2 weeks, I'm currently in first with a 135-73 record. I believe Caleb's in second with a 134-72 record. Ezra's in third with a you were 134, weren't you?
I have no idea.
Hold on. Getting it now. I can edit this part out. I probably won't.
I love the honesty.
Ezra's 132-76, and Riley's in last with a 126-82, which was kind of fascinating because going into last week, Riley was.
It was just his last week.
It
killed me.
It was your worst. I think you were the first one to have a losing week in a while.
It was pretty bad.
Let's see. Last person to have a losing week since you did it was.
Was it you, week 1?
No, it was him in week 5, and
It's
you in
just
week 5.
these little. Yeah.
I don't know. I don't watch.
I also picked the Panthers. I thought it was a classic trap game, and the Panthers would look good. So I was going to give Panthers.
I don't think you said Panthers 100-0. So
it's true.
It would have made sense why the Eagles lost if it happened.
It's true.
Would have been on you.
But my on the board prediction was the Panthers.
Somebody did bet $4 million on the Eagles to win. There was the other reason it was close.
Hey man, I made $300,000 off of that. Okay.
All right. So Riley, what's your lock of the week and what's your upset of the week?
I don't even know the games this week. I would say my lock is Eagles. I'm scared of this one, but Eagles beating the Steelers because the Steelers have had a little bit of a stagnation recently. And the Eagles are coming off of a tough game where they just need to take back over and show their dominance again. Also, apparently George Pickens isn't playing, against the Eagles.
Believe it or not, that didn't affect them at all last week.
So
The Steelers look better without him.
so it'll be interesting because I don't know if Najee Harris will be able to take over.
This is the first week where we might be able to see what happens if Saquon stopped. But it's also
But also he did it against the Ravens, which was the number one rush defense when they played.
Pittsburgh's got a little more beef.
Yeah, that's
up
true.
front. The one thing I will say, this is also a week that if A.J. Brown wants to get right on offense and Jalen Hurts wants to get right, it's right there because Joey Porter Jr. is not stopping A.J. Brown to save his life.
That's true.
And your upset of the week?
I got Dolphins taking Titans.
Texans.
Texans, sorry, not
I was
Titans.
gonna say,
I was no, because I was
that's
thinking.
not an upset.
I was thinking Bengals Titans, but no, I got the Dolphins beating the Texans because the Dolphins have been good since Tua came back, and the Texans suck.
All right, Caleb, what's your lock of the week?
My lock of the week, man. There's a couple on there. Let's say I'm gonna go with the very sure one. Ravens over the Giants.
I knew someone was going with that. I was like, that's why it wasn't mine.
Not gonna be wrong on that one.
And then your upset of the week?
Okay, so the Colts are favored to win against the Broncos.
No, Broncos are
Oh,
favored.
Broncos are favored. Are the Rams favored or the 49ers?
Niners are favored by 2.5.
Okay,
Yeah.
I'm saying the Rams are the upset.
Yeah.
All right. So my lock of the week is Broncos over the Colts. There's no way that Sean Payton off a bye is losing that game.
Okay.
My upset of the week is the Patriots are going to beat the Cardinals. The Cardinals are falling,
Mm-hmm.
and they're falling fast. Kyler Murray's coming back down to earth. I don't know if you guys saw any of that Seahawks game, but his favorite target was not even a Cardinal.
It's because
it was the old
Warzone.
Rams wall.
It's because Warzone came out for Call of Duty.
Yeah, everybody always thought it was Cliff Kingsbury was the reason their second half demises, but well,
It's Call of Duty.
looks like it's still Kyler. Anyway,
Yeah.
please like, please subscribe. Thank you for watching. Enjoy more football. Wow, English Christian.
More football.
More football. And hopefully all your baseball teams don't do anything that angers you like Soto going to the Mets did. Even though I will say, Soto going to the Mets really didn't frustrate Yankees fans as much as Mets fans think it did.
It's
The
going
only
to be
thing that
irrelevant for 15 years.
was frustrating was when we had that little period where the Yankees didn't do anything. Once the Yankees now the Yankees have broken the seal, it's like, all right, I'm good. We're gonna be all right.
For like a day, you were like,
Come on, guys.
Hey,
You
we
need
doing
something.
anything?
Do
to-
something here.
You gotta just change the narrative.
How many
right
times you checked Twitter?
now. I don't want to admit. I have been I've been refreshing like a fat. It's insane. I've thought to myself, this is ridiculous. I gotta be doing damage to my eyes.
Honestly, the Mets just be throwing out. They throw out so much money and it does nothing for them.
Mets are gonna Met, Jets
So,
are gonna Jet,
yeah.
Mets are gonna
Last time the Mets did this, they ended up eating the money to trade the guys. So I'm interested to see if it happens again.
So did the Phillies.
Scherzer, Verlander,
Mm-hmm.
best rotation in the
Well, I
game.
guess maybe they're like those guys are old. Maybe if we go younger and overspend, maybe.
Yeah, that's what P. Diddy
No.
said, too. Oh, sorry. Jay-Z. I see what you mean about why they couldn't have Jay-Z at the Yankee game.
I told you.
I was like, oh, I didn't understand what all this. I don't read any of those allegations, any of that stuff. I'm not into. I'm not plugged in there. And then I saw the headline about the Jay-Z. I was like, oh, so that's why the Yankees did get Jay-Z.
I told you. I said Jay-Z's also involved.
Maybe they should have. Still say they should have got Alicia Keys and just have a background of he who shall not be named,
Yes, there we go.
except in the lawsuit. All right.
Anyway, thank you for watching. Have a nice day. Until next time.
To be continued.